So it's all about timing and how soon you get into the game and decide to go ahead and go for it. So keep an eye on this. It's my understanding is it's in Congress in a committee. The big concern with the politicians, as you might expect, is they always look at something like this as this is essentially, in their minds, potentially a tax cut. And of course, what does a politician do? Is they say, well, we have to find a way to pay for it. Well, that's interesting. So we're talking about a proposal where people get to keep more of their money, but a politician says, well, we're going to lose revenue, and so we have to get this change. If it happens, we have to find a way for it to pay for itself. Well, this may be too complicated for most politicians, but in economics, there's something about incentives and what happens when you create policy rules that might affect people's incentives. What I would argue, any good economist could probably study this, and this is probably what needs to be done so that they can educate politicians about this, is that if we had that kind of increase in capital gains exclusion limits, I think that will prompt more homes to hit the market for sale. Of course, a politician thinks, well, if we raise those limits and get less tax, then in a static fashion, the amount of tax revenue is going to drop. Well, they're going to think that because they're going to assume the amount of homes being put on the market isn't going to change as a result of the policy change. So in their mind, static, okay, we raise the limits, less tax, we're going to get less revenue. We're not paying for the change. Well, what they're missing is when you increase those limits, people get to keep more of their sale proceeds. More of those folks, I think, are going to sell, even if they have a 2 to 3% mortgage, because they're going to realize how much more money they can capture and keep in their pocket. And so my argument would be, and I think this could be borne out with some good research, you'll probably see an increase in the number of home sales that would more than make up for the loss of tax revenue on each individual sale. So there'd be less tax revenue per home sale, but there'll be more total tax revenue because more homes will get sold. Of course, that's even before talking about all the ancillary effects. You're getting more homes sold, more realtors are getting commissions, you got more support services involved with those sales, appraisers and credit report companies and home inspectors, and all the trades that might be doing repairs on these homes, et cetera, et cetera. All that, of course, trickles down into all those folks got to get paid. That means more tax revenue and so forth and so on. So there are some real good economic benefits to making this change. And so that's why I wanted to make sure that you were aware of it. And, if you're active, talk to your local Congress people and let them know you think this is a good idea and urge them to do this, because I think it would be a big shot in the arm to address our housing problem and give more and more people housing opportunity.